first question is, okay, could you share some easy to understand tips for beginners in Microsoft Fabric integration? And who asked this question? I need to double check.
Manu Kamna on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your question. It's a really, really good question. And we are not sure how to best answer it, because it could be really big, or we could try and summarize it in a way or in some ways, and the answer depends. So what do we mean with Microsoft Fabric integration, right? So we have come up with an interpretation of what we think it could be. But then also, I think there are already coming in some questions on how could I start out with Fabric if I already have something else to do. So the architecture part of this, and where we can put Fabric into existing architectures. So I think that will be something we can discuss next time. But for this time, let's try and scope it a bit. So many ways to answer it, but if you think of how you integrate with Fabric is, so how do I make sure that my data is coming into Fabric and that I can start using Fabric really, because obviously you need data inside of Fabric to use it. So this is the scope of this answer today. Yep. And there are 4 ways to do that. So you have OneLake shortcuts that you can set up. You have pipelines, you have data flows, and you have Apache Spark notebook code that you can use. So
what is notebooks? Yes. Notebooks? What's that?
Is that a question? What notebooks are?
Yeah, what are notebooks? Can you tell me?
I will. Okay, I'm coming to that, because that's the last one, right, Jay? So we need to start at the very beginning here. Stay focused now. Stay with me, Jay. Okay, so we're starting with the OneLake shortcuts. I'll try and be quick. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
So we mentioned the shortcuts already, right, in this live stream, but these are these virtual copies that you can pull into your OneLake. So instead of actually copying data from, for instance, an existing data lake that you have, a data lake account, you can set up a shortcut, and then you are just you're pointing towards that that storage, and then you virtually have it inside of your OneLake.
So does that work with just Azure sources, or is there other stuff? Oh wait, you already have it there. Don't worry.
I already had it. Because no, it doesn't work with everything. And Jay, so that's a question for you. Will it work with everything? Do you think?
I mean, it will work. I mean, the goal is eventually to work with everything, but define everything, right?
Yeah.
But absolutely, the goal is not to just have this as a Azure only capability, right? As you can already see, I mean, linking out to Amazon S3, for example, or Dataverse, which is still then Microsoft but not Azure, but Amazon S3 is absolutely not Microsoft, right? So it's not that we're saying this is Microsoft only, you can only connect to Microsoft sources, right? Wherever your data is, we want a shortcut. We want to make it easy to connect to it. So yeah, I think in the fullness of time, we would say we want to connect to anything and have a shortcut to everywhere. But in reality, of course, that will take time. And then there will be situations in which you can't use a shortcut. You can still connect to it, but you cannot use a shortcut. You have to build something else, right? So, for example, indeed, as Catherine has just now put in the chat, this is a great example, right? Would everything include Excel sheets on a SharePoint? I don't think so, right? So you would still be able to upload that data and add it to OneLake, but having an easy shortcut where the data still lives somewhere else, that is what we're talking about with a shortcut. That is, we want to connect to as many as we can and provide as many easy to use shortcuts as we can, but not to everything.
Cool. Because today we have these four are supported, right? So you can have internal OneLake location, Azure Data Lake, Amazon S3, and then also Dataverse. And Dataverse is the newest one, right? So things are coming, and we're waiting for more.
And there's more. There is absolutely more coming. We're not done here.
Cool.
Just getting started.
Okay, cool.
Like so we are on this live stream. We're not done.
Yeah, no, that was just the shortcut. So this is one way, right? You can integrate.
Yes.
with Fabric. And then we have the next one. So that is, I'm combining these. So you have both pipelines and you have data flows. So when you're inside the Fabric world, you can go into these two experiences, so data engineering and data factory. That's where you will find pipelines and data flows. So inside of the pipelines, you use the copy tool, and then you can integrate with other solution and then copy your data into your, well, where we want to store it, right? But it maybe into your data lake. And then when you're inside of the data flows, you go into, so if you've been in Power BI and working inside of Power Query, data flows is essentially Power Query. And then you do the same, but you're inside of Fabric. So you say, okay, I want to connect to all of these. I think it's more than 200 sources you can connect to, and then pull your data into Fabric. So yeah, that's for data flows Gen 2, because then you can also set up data destination for your data flow. So you can use data flow specifically to integrate with other solutions and pull data into Fabric.
And then eventually also to ODBC sources, as we talked about earlier.
Right? Oh yeah, yes, good point.
Connecting the dots here.
Yes, perfect. So that's pipelines and data flows. And then, oops, sorry, I clicked the wrong one. But then we have the Apache Spark notebooks that you can use, and then you can write in your own code. Right. And you asked what notebooks are.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So notebooks, that's if you've been working in Databricks or inside of Synapse and working with Synapse notebooks, that is the same experience that has now been put into Fabric. So that means that you can write code, and you can also decide what language, code language you're using. So inside of these cells, and then that's how you are transforming your data. So instead of using the traditional SQL data warehousing way of working with your data, you can use notebooks and then write these codes inside of these cells and then run them separately, etc., and have just better control. I'm a big fan of notebooks. It just makes life easier, I think. You can still write SQL if you want to, but you can also write Python.
Yeah, you could write many languages, right?
Yes.
Can I just, is there a limited set of languages, or can you just write any? I'm assuming there's a limited set.
There is a limited set. Now I am not sure the actual answer here.
Maybe that's a good question for the next time. What languages are available in the Apache notebook?
Let's write it down. Let's write it down. I think it's Python, SQL, and Spark. But I'm not sure about Spark.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple more, but we'll look it up. We'll figure it out. We'll answer it the next time.
Yes,
look at that.
We'll do. Okay. But yeah, on the integration side, that means that if you can code it, you can integrate with it, right? So this is an example of how you could write a connection towards an Azure Blob Storage inside of notebooks. Yes. So also this is where you have the most control. Oh, and then, so this was pretty cool. When I looked into this answer or this question to find the answer, I also found this recommendation from Microsoft, which is cool. They actually, so I'm sorry, but you don't always give recommendations, but you gave it on this one. That's cool. So what should you use when, right? So if you are, and yeah, the link is here, so just go in and have a look yourself. But if you're working with small files, you can actually just upload them locally from your machine. Cool. I didn't say that because I don't feel like that part of the integration question. But yeah, that's easy to use if you want to just pull some ad hoc data in. Or if you have small data or a specific connector, you use the data flows. If you're more on the large side of the data, you use the copy tool in the pipelines. And then if you're using these complex data transformations, you use notebook code. That's also because there you will pull in the data, and then you can also obviously run all these types of transformations in code, right?
So that was a great answer, but it was an answer on an interpretation of the question of Monica,
yes,
right?
It was. So, and maybe it wasn't what she meant, right?
Right. Well, hopefully she can report back and ask another follow-up question. Yes. Tell us that we answered the question, maybe. So yeah, I mean, this is also what's going to happen in the live stream, right? People are going to ask questions, and we just take one interpretation, might be the wrong interpretation that you did not intend. So I also would like, if you ask a question, just let us know if we did answer it, and if we didn't, what did you actually mean, right? So yeah, this was a great answer. I love it. I learned something as well today. So great. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. That's the great part about these questions, that we can dig into the answers and learn things.